What's up, you guys? Welcome to Fightful. Sean Ross Sapp here. It is now May 26, 2025. It's your AEW Double or Nothing review. We have been here right in the middle of like 2 weeks straight. We had a Battleground review earlier tonight. We had Saturday night's main event last night. We're just running right through it. We got like 1 day off, like Sunday night, I think, next week. We have that off. And then we're right back for another full week with Money in the Bank, all that good stuff. Man, I am so glad to have you guys here. Leave a thumbs up on this video. Drop a fruit emoji. Share the link if you all don't mind on platforms everywhere. I'll tell you about some of those platforms that we're on a little bit later, but it was a long show. We got probably a long review as well. Don't need to get into too many plugs here outside of me telling you guys any exclusive news you hear on tonight's show came from FightfulSelect.com, the best $5.99 a month in the business. And we had an incredible scoops thread on tonight's show and gave you guys some background on who was going to be there, who wasn't going to be there. And let's go ahead and get into that right out of the gate while you all are here populating. Now, I will say, get in your super chats, get in your humper chats if you want your questions or statements read here on the air. Again, we have more exclusive news here at Fightful than anywhere else, and our great moderator Luis is putting all the super chats, humper chats together in the right segments. But if you like the Q&A format, Fightful Select is also the place for you. I do a Q&A there every single week. We've got a Discord that I was in chatting live tonight. Just a wonderful time. But we broke a bunch of news over there before this show. Tekla was backstage, one of AEW's newest signings. We broke the news of that signing and had some people being like, oh, is she going to debut tonight? That wasn't the plan. We had even put that on there. She was there, but she lives in Arizona. So that wasn't like a crazy thing for her to be there or anything like that. Super agent Barry Bloom was there. He reps an awful lot of people. Hangman, I believe Will Ospreay as well. Just a ton of people. The Young Bucks. Joey Janela was there earlier in the evening with Megan Bain, of course. Alex Hammerstone, current MLW star, not under contract, though, was backstage at AEW Double or Nothing. Pretty interesting. Fightful Select also reported that Hiroshi Tanahashi was at the show. Of course, we saw him a little bit later, but there are a few names that were not backstage. Mariah May is one of them. She is still under AEW contract, but was not featured on this show, was not planned for this show. I believe she's going to let her contract ride out. There's one that I tried to ease you all into a little bit, and Eddie even did an interview with PW Insider this weekend, I think, to kind of calm down a lot of the rumors and the speculation that he would be on this show. Eddie Kingston, that is. So I know that we came up on 1 year since his injury at the hands of Gabe Kidd. So a lot of it made sense, right? Representing Team AEW, Anarchy in the Arena, of which he is known for. Of course, the retribution on Gabe Kidd, a lot of those things. However, here was the situation. Eddie broke his leg and tore his ACL and meniscus. So what he had to do was, it wasn't like the typical 1 year recovery. Plus, Eddie's a little bit older as well. We're not talking about a WWE Performance Center recruit here. This is Eddie Kingston. He said he had some stomach issues, stuff like that. But he had to let his leg heal before he could even get knee surgery. So probably looking at even a little bit more time. If I were to estimate, and again, an estimate, probably more towards the summer. Darby Allin. So this is an interesting one because at one point AEW was hopeful that Darby would be back, be in the Owen, compete at AEW Double or Nothing. And obviously that just wasn't the case. And he reached the summit of Mount Everest this past week. And I kept being told things like, well, it's not impossible, but don't count on it type of stuff. So those three weren't there. We had details on that on FightfulSelect.com. Please subscribe. Please go support original creators. We would greatly appreciate if you guys would do that. And man, we had a ton today over there. We had NXT Battleground scoops. We had details on Tessa Blanchard, of which she tried to debunk, and then she's like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm actually not cleared, just like they said. We had Saturday night's main events producers. We had Liv Morgan updates. We had details on a WWE star taking time off. James Zimmerman sends us a humper chat and says, great show. It really was a great show. Really was a great show. Started off with a women's tag team match on the pre-show, the buy-in. This is relevant to Fightful because, I mean, the other day I was on the call, the media call, and the thing I have been banging the drum for quite some time is women's world tag team titles. And if you've ever listened to one of my shows, you've probably heard me talk about it. And here's what I pitch. Consolidate a bunch of titles, not just women's titles, a bunch of men's titles too. Between ROH and AEW and all that stuff, way too many title belts. They don't mean anything. So what I suggest is you consolidate some of the titles all the way around, and you do world women's tag team titles. And by that, I mean they can be defended in ROH, on AEW, really wherever. And then you have, like, for some reason, if you don't have creative for them, okay, pop up on ROH. Go pop up on New Japan Strong, something like that. And what we saw was, quite frankly, a surprising result here. And I don't know why I just thought Megan Bayne would win this with, Penelope Ford as her teammate, but this got some time. Anna Jay and Harley Cameron seem to be jumping into this. It's interesting because Ty Mello has indicated that AEW has told her to get ready for something. I see like the seeds and the formations of a women's tag team division here, but I don't see it with Anna Jay and Harley Cameron. And I posted this on Twitter the other day. I think Ty Mello should come back, help Anna Jay turn on Harley Cameron, and then Harley Cameron forms a team with Nyla Rose, and they become one of the funniest, most entertaining teams out there. Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford continue. Of course, you've got Deanna and Taya there as well. You've already got like 4 teams right there. That's more than TNA has and have had for like 2 years. So I would dig that. So, really, really liked the Megan Bayne, Penelope Ford dropping the match to Anna Jay and Harley Cameron. Did you all notice? Did you all recognize the finisher that Harley Cameron used in this match? It was Luther Reigns' finish. And I found a clip of it and ran it on Blue Sky and Twitter. Taz called both of them. Go figure. Harley and Anna got the matching gear, all that. The producer did miss the finish, but they ended up replaying it. And I guess I haven't seen Harley finish enough matches with that for me to realize that it is her finish. But using the GOAT, Luther Reigns, as the finish, you gotta love it. Gotta love it. Also on the buy-in, Bandito, AR Fox, Hologram Commander defeated Roppongi Vice, who had a new remix theme song that I think that Mikey Ruckus remixed, and Crew. Listen, the thing with Crew is I know Leo Rush to be very entertaining. I haven't seen much in the segments with Action Andretti and all that, but I know Leo to be very entertaining, and I want to see that shine through more. But that being said, like, if you're AEW, you use your luchadors, you put them in a few different spots. Hologram got a really, really good pop as he came into the ring, which is very promising considering the push you've given to him. I feel like I lost my train of thought there reading a super chat. Damn, what was I saying? Oh, sorry. I feel like they went a little early on the Bandito mask match. Sorry for losing my train of thought there. Also, I might have been mistaken. I don't think Joey Janela was backstage. But Bandito with the mask versus mask match, or the mask versus title match, I think that they should have had something like that in Texas at All In, especially when you want to draw in luchador fans, lucha libre fans specifically from that area, and put some asses in seats, which they do need to do. It is now time for them to move some tickets, because the amount of tickets they have moved, just I'm hoping they can get 20, 25, 30,000. 30,000 has got to be the target. Right now, tickets ain't moving too hot. Now that you got some matches announced, you got at least 2 set. Everybody knows Okada and Omega's coming up. You got to fill in some other big names. Swerve, Ospreay, MJF, some names like that. You got to get some luchadors on there too. What's Athena going to be doing in Texas, in her home state? Better be something. There's a cool 4-way moonsault on this. Some front flips off the corner. There was a little wonky spot with hologram in action, Andretti, but Tony P says the show might be on par or better than All Out 2021. It was a fantastic show, top to bottom. I thought every match was good. There wasn't one match that I looked at and was like, man, that just, And also, listen, very long show, but it's one that I felt like it tied up an awful lot and helped advance awful lot. The trios match could have for sure been on like Collision or something like that. Like, again, this could have been an 8-match show, but it was an 11-match show, and I'll take that over a 14-match show. As much as I rail against these 13, 14-match shows, I'm going to be happy when they shorten it to like 11 or so. So our wonderful partner, Bet Online, had odds that we're going to be giving you throughout the show for a number of these matches. Please bet responsibly. Only bet what you can. You can bet on the NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs, WNBA season. I'm a big Fever fan, so loving that right now. But you boys over at Fightful Select are now 28 for 28 on our lock picks. Mercedes was one of our lock picks, and we had her favored to win. Bet Online had her favored to win. Go over there. Check out Bet Online. They got the fastest payouts. You can deposit with crypto if you've got that as well. They've got games. They've got things like poker, all kinds of great stuff over at Bet Online AG. This was an insane opening match. Mercedes Mone, Jamie Hayter. Now, I just want to make this clear. Once again, look at me in the eyes. Mercedes Mone does not have creative control. Let me explain what creative control is. It is contractual. Hulk Hogan had creative control. That's why he was able to change the finish of Starrcade 97. That's why he was able to even say Goldberg should go over me in 98. It's why he was able to encourage and pretty much force WWE's hand into Shawn Michaels going heel. It's why he beat Randy Orton in 06. He had creative control in his contract. Creative input is not creative control. Almost every wrestler has creative input. If Mercedes had creative control, she would have the Renegades, Robin and Charlotte, by her side right now. She would already have that. It was her call for Willow to beat her on the fly in New Japan. The reason Mercedes has not lost matches in over a year, she has not even been approached to lose those matches by an indie, by New Japan, by AEW. Period. Let's talk about the match because it kicked ass. It kicked ass. There was one like rough spot that was Hayter like botching the run up, and she recovered. Man, I wish I could recover from just tripping at all like that. It ended up looking really good. The double knees to the outside, bam, really great spot. Had the crowd into it. One of my favorite spot was the roll into the Hayter choke. Now, Mercedes was in like this supine position a couple different times in the choke as well, looking like Crow Cop when he got knocked out by Gabriel Gonzaga. There was just a phenomenal pin sequence out of that too. And then the statement maker, then a big lariat. And I was like, oh my God, has everything that I've been led to believe over the last few months about Mercedes versus Toni at All In, is that not true? They sold me a ticket here on this. Just two great performers going out there and doing it. Just really, really good. And the finish, oh boy, did I love it. Oh boy, you're gonna figure out who the ball knowers are here. You're gonna find out who knows ball based on how they feel about this finish, how they feel about a hammerlock float over DDT into an inside cradle as a finish. Because if they don't like that one, I hate to tell you, they don't know ball. They don't know ball. There was also an amazing tombstone spot. And Mercedes sold it like it was one of the like a 1991 Undertaker tombstone. She sold a tombstone like the guys back in 91 who didn't know how to sell a tombstone. And it looked even more vicious. And if you go back and you look at those, you'll see the Undertaker doing them. And instead of putting their legs or their knees like around his head, they'll lean them back the opposite way, and as a result, they'll hit and their heels will go over their head, and it'll look filthy. And that's what Mercedes did. It looked phenomenal. I know everybody's big on the Mercedes wins, LOL, all that stuff. I do not get it, guys. I'm not usually one for title versus title matches, and I don't think Mercedes will be on the line. I don't think it will be. But I also don't think Mercedes is winning this match, guys. I think a lot of this is brought in to put over Toni as the anchor, the absolute anchor, because Toni came, put over Mariah, and then, of course, won it back. But I think this is going for a direction of where Toni beats Mercedes. And I saw so much concern trolling. Listen, I get it. There's a lot of people that are like, oh my God, Mercedes wins all the time. It's called a push. A push. I know in a lot of places they got champions losing all the time, and I don't care what company it is. WWE, AEW, TNA, New Japan. First off, there's too many damn titles. You can't avoid champions losing that much. This is the two biggest women's stars in AEW at their biggest show in America that they've ever had. What's their highest attended in America? Greensboro? It's going to pass that. And then they are going to clash. They are going to fight, and we get to see which one's the biggest, which one's the best. I want Athena to be doing something at AEW All In as well. I honestly think they should set up a Thunder Rosa Athena match for All In. Two Texas girls going at it. Highest attended was Grand Slam 2021, about 20K. Yep, you're right. You're absolutely right. And they'll pass that. Greensboro was fantastic too. I was there for both of those shows, and I'll be there for All In. For the life of me, I don't get all the are we pretending that Mercedes isn't one of the best women's wrestlers, period? Are we acting like that isn't a thing? You acting like you don't want to see her sell a Storm 0 or 4? I see people saying my only complaint is more of these women's matches should be main eventing. Pay-per-views for sure. Not this one. This one was the right call. But like they main event regularly on AEW TV now. Kieran says, really enjoyed the women's Owen final. Wanted Jamie to win, but knew Mercedes and Toni was the money match. You think other women are looking at Casino Gauntlet at All In now? What I would do is a Casino Gauntlet. I would do Thunder Rosa and Athena and Toni, Mercedes at minimum. And maybe work in a fourth as well. And listen, I think you're more likely. Her offense isn't impactful. She drives her knees into people's faces repeatedly. The Meteora is impactful no matter who you do it to. Allie Albright could do the Meteora to me and I'd make it look like $1 million. And I wrestle once a year. Meteora is a really good move, and it's something that she uses over and over and over again. Very Nakamura pilled there. And I mean New Japan Nakamura pilled, where everything was like knee-based. Everybody can make that look good. It is somebody's knee driving into your face. 2 of them. Roderick Wildman says, both the Owen finals were great. Has this year's tournament elevated it? Hope Toni expands the field next year for more people and stories. Roderick, I'm with you. I hope that they do. I do hope that they expand it and make it 16. I really do. But I think that this did elevate it as well. And this main evented or this main evented a pay-per-view, which I think is very, very important. Very important. I'll tell you one of my favorite things. First off, she had the pink and black, and she even said she wanted to do like some Natalia-inspired gear. And I don't know who all caught this, but she did the Natalia taunt. She goes, "You guys," up at the top, which was incredible. Incredible. Get your super chats and humper chats in, my friends. In Simmons says, I think Mercedes versus Toni is the biggest women's match in the last, it just says in the last, since Becky versus Rhea, and surpasses that as well. Yeah, I mean, to me, this match will be up there with Bianca, Sasha, Becky, Bianca, Becky, Charlotte, last woman standing. That's what I'm expecting here. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. It has the opportunity to be the best women's match in AEW history. And I mean, listen, Toni has got to find something that can overcome the Hollywood ending, because that was damn near perfect, right? Like that's such a plot point of this. Like, think of all the actors and actresses who reach their peak, and then you're like, how will they ever beat that? How is that not a plot point for Toni? Toni should embrace this. The champion of the superstation, she would say. Starring against her in her opportunity to one-up her career highlight. Whew. Damn. I'll tell you what, friends. If you want some main event performance, if you want the spotlight, check out our friends at Blue Chew. You dealing with a nosy mailman all up in your business about what you're ordering, what you're getting? Well, don't worry about it with BlueChew.com and the code FIGHTFUL. It ships discreetly. Discreetly. Fortunately for you, because the mailman's going to want to know what's going on. He's going to be delivering that mail to your house. He's going to hear all these sounds. He's going to be like, what's going on there? Well, I don't know, because this package doesn't say anything, but I have a feeling the package in there is saying something, and it will be, because of BlueChew.com and the code FIGHTFUL. Same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis. Helps get you that main event performance and confidence. And you get your first shipment free when you go to BlueChew.com and use the code FIGHTFUL. Like I said, same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but much more affordable and in a chewable. Take their online quiz, and then when approved, it ships straight to your door. My gosh. BlueChew.com and the code FIGHTFUL. Mind your own business, mailman. Yeah, mailman. Jordan S. says, if you didn't like this pay-per-view, you simply don't know ball. This pay-per-view was 100% sicko certified. But it had everything for everyone, I believe. Pure cinema and the best AEW pay-per-view for me. Well, Jordan, you know one thing. Us at Fightful, Fightful Select, the wonderful community of thousands that we have, our wonderful Discord. If anything, we are ball knowers. We are familiar with balls at Fightful. Mediocre Pixel says, admittedly been a bit checked out of AEW for the last few weeks, But tonight reminded me why I love it. Phenomenal show. As always, big thanks to you and all the Fightful team for the great content and coverage. Well, listen, not to give you back-to-back plugs, but listen, right after my review, subscribe to FightfulSelect.com, just $5.99 a month. Alex and Kate will be doing one as well. Alex a little bit more analytical. I'm more booking-based. He's a little bit more analytical in that sense. Kate, of course, is going to definitely be Kate, and she's definitely going to make Kate things happen. Is what I can guarantee over there. FightfulSelect.com. We had 4 exclusive stories today over there. I know a lot of you are like, why on earth would I ever pay for wrestling news? Well, let me tell you what one of the great things about the internet is. You can support original creators and help me from pulling out my hair when I have to correct every aggregator on the planet that eventually gets our stories wrong. And you can just ask questions on the stories. So hope you guys check that out. I'll be doing my Q&A show this week, as I always do. It will be live. I don't know if it'll be tomorrow, Tuesday. Probably ain't going to be Wednesday. Probably before then. I'm about to choke down some glizzies and glizzy sauce tomorrow, though, guys. It's Memorial Day. Been working hard. N. Simmons says, oh, no, we read that one. We read that one. Luis! We had FTR defeating Daniel Garcia and Nigel McGuinness. So I was incredibly interested in this as FTR, I believe they were the favorites on this. That's who I had as well. They were the Bet Online favorites, but I was very interested to see Stokely Hathaway and how having him at ringside would change an FTR pay-per-view match. Now, I like the passionate Dax and Cash approach to their promos and all that stuff. They're very much a we love wrestling, we're so glad to be here type of thing. But with Stokely, he brings like such a fresh approach to them. And to me, it's almost like the act I've been waiting for Stokely to manage for like 6-7 years. I think AOP could have been that act. I think it could have been him. I think that they could have helped one another and extended each other's WWE run. You know what I mean? Because a lot of the Stokely pairings just like bookers lose attention very quickly. And this one, I don't think that's happening because I think we're on a collision course for FTR versus Cope and Christian, which is why I saw FTR winning this. So Nigel McGuinness being picked over Daddy Magic was interesting because Daddy Magic was on the pre-show and he's like, my feelings aren't hurt. Not really. And I'm like, oh, okay. Is that something to look out for? Now, I know that Daddy Magic has also been keen on doing commentary as well, as opposed to wrestling a lot more. And hey, if you can get that type of job, good for you. But I felt like we saw some untapped stuff based on like that really emotional, bloody promo a few years ago. But he did step in here to help Stokely. And I really liked how this show or this match was affected by Stokely. And again, it's one of those things. It's such a little thing to add a manager, or it seems like it, right? And you think, well, how much could it possibly really affect things? But it does. It brings a little bit of a different approach and psychology, and guys who traditionally follow the rules, then when they break them and they've got another guy on the outside helping them, after being staunch, rules guys, and even no flips, just fists, all that stuff, it brings a fresh approach. And this 23 minutes flew by. This felt like 15 minutes. I really thought that they did Daniel Garcia some favors here by doing the 2 pile drivers, and he kicked out of the first one. Then the second one hits and he puts his foot on the ropes. Now, were there one too many of these moments on the show in general? Maybe, but on an AEW pay-per-view, it's what I've come to expect. I started to see that formula with ROH years ago. It's a lot like that. There was the shatter machine on the floor that was really good too. I'm actually not a big fan of the finish. I know it's a very Bret Hart pilled finish. But like traditionally you don't pass out from like a sharpshooter or a single leg crab or an arm bar. The pass out from pain thing isn't like typical coming from a guy who covered thousands and thousands and thousands of MMA fights. A choke for sure. The reason Stone Cold Steve Austin passed out is because he was losing blood. So that was the reason for that. That being said, everything that led up to it, I was an enormous fan of. And that honestly, that's just me looking for a complaint. That's just me looking for like, okay, what's your one qualm with this match? And that's it. I feel like not enough people tap out anymore, but I do also understand that when it comes to Daniel Garcia, a lot of his thing is he's sort of reestablishing his toughness, even though it was really never in question. But he did pass up on BCC, now the Death Riders, to dance and be a part of the Jericho Appreciation Society. And it is also not lost on me. Guys, think about this. He passed up being Bryan Danielson's protege to join the Jericho Appreciation Society. And now who is Daniel Garcia teaming with? Nigel McGuinness, who hates Bryan Danielson. I Touch Squirrel says, you guys reported that Barry Bloom was at the show. This guy handles big money contracts, so was he there for business? Do you know? Well, there were a bunch of agents there, and it's kind of common. Like a lot of agents and reps will be there for their clients' really, really big matches. And Barry Bloom had a lot of wrestlers with really big matches tonight. He repped a bunch of people in Anarchy in the Arena. He reps Will Ospreay. He reps Okada, who was on this show as well. So, I mean, he reps an awful lot of people that are on this show. Ricochet defeated Mark Briscoe. Ricochet was the Bet Online AG favorite. It was also our pick. And Vicky says, can you please talk about Mark and his amazing performance tonight? Sleeper, Humper. I'd love your thoughts since you've spoken with him. Well, first off, I love doing media with Mark Briscoe. If AEW doesn't know who to give to me, I ask for Mark Briscoe. He is so entertaining and kind and he's done things that were very important to me from a professional level as well. Like regarding the Fightful Awards, what he did with those was very important to me. And just a lovely guy. He's just a wonderful dude. And he is such a versatile performer that everybody loves. Like, very few performers have I just believed more than the Briscoe brothers, and they were so categorically different from one another, right? Like, it's funny, we talk about Gabe Kidd later on. Gabe Kidd reminds me a lot of Jay Briscoe, and that's a hell of a person to remind me of. But you want to talk about somebody who made the right career move. Ricochet made the right career move. And it's okay, guys. I know most people watching this realize that it's okay. But he pisses a lot of people off, including WWE wrestlers. At least the younger ones, like Javon Evans, who took the bait on that. But he's running the gimmick. He's running the Twitter troll gimmick. After everybody said he didn't have personality, after people turned on him, you're reinforcing what he's saying. When you bite on that stuff, you are reinforcing what he's saying. Just saying. But what a great move that was for him. And you know, what a great move it was for Ethan Page to go to WWE. What a great move it was for Cody to go back to WWE. Jury's still out on a lot of other people, but this is why you want multiple big companies that are paying really, really good money. When TNA was handing out big contracts, the tip top were really good contracts, but more than anything, it was the schedule. They loved the schedule. The schedules are kind of comparable now, outside of media obligations and stuff like that. But Ricochet is showing that he could have been something in WWE. Briscoe bled like crazy. The triple jumps, and then Ricochet threw the chair into him. Amazing. We have a nice clip from our friend Kimmy, who is repping Fightful tonight, of Mark Briscoe doing the elbow through a table, which was just incredible. Then Ricochet grabs those scissors. Bam. It's a spirit gun. I don't think you can speak highly enough of Mark Briscoe and how he's been able to fill so many roles. And that's without him doing straight up tag matches. Don't know if you guys have noticed this, but the man doesn't do straight up tag matches anymore. He said that he didn't want to when his brother passed, and Toni has respected that. He said he'd do trios and, 8-man tags and stuff like that. But he has been so effective and so good. And I really hope that they turn him into like a genius on TV. And I love that they left the ambulance out there for later. We do have Luis giving us scrum notes, but hey, if you're here on youtube.com/Fightful, check out some of our great interviews this past week. I had Gabe Kidd, I had Prince Nana, and how about this one, guys? I had Muhammad Hassan. He's on Dark Side of the Ring this week. You'll see in the interview, but I've mentioned this a number of times. Muhammad Hassan is a big reason why I am sitting here right now. 9.5 years ago, I wanted to do something that nobody else was doing in wrestling, and I set out to tell that story. I wanted to prove I was more than an aggregator, and I reached out to a Twitter egg account, and it happened to actually be him. We set up an interview, and I can't say anything better than what he said about that feature, but it changed the course of my career, my life. I think it's a big reason why Fightful exists to this day. And we interviewed him again a few months later when Fightful launched, but it's our first interview in 9 years. He mentioned that the interview that we did with him opened him up to doing more interviews, like with Chris Van Vliet, with Matt Kuhn, with Maven down the line. It got him back in touch with Sean Daivari. I really hope you guys check this out ahead of Dark Side of the Ring. I got to watch the episode, and the episode is largely the feature that I did on him 9 years ago, which was pretty awesome. But please check out that interview. I just really loved it. This week's interview with Muhammad Hassan is one of my favorite. Outside of that first one, man, it's I think I might even like it more than the first one. Just please check that one out, guys. Later this week, I think I got Matt Cardona, an in-person interview coming up. Good stuff there, my friends. Get in these super chats. Get in these humper chats. In Simmons says, enjoyed the Ricochet Mark Briscoe match, but I would change 2 things. I think Mark had way too much offense like the Dynamite match, and Ricochet should have bled to make the match a little more of an even bloodbath. So in Simmons, here's where I stand with that. Right now, Ricochet is bloodying people. Right now, Ricochet is showing that he's getting the advantage whenever, man, my own stream just popped up, to show that the scissors are a benefit for him, to show that that's something that gives him the one up on people. And I think that's the way to go right now. I think it's good to rock with that. I mean, I don't disagree with you, but I think one day when Mark Briscoe snaps is whenever he'll really bloody somebody. Because right now he's the one taking a lot of the damage. He's the one, getting messed with, and sometimes, getting the shit into the stick. Pardon my French, but I think that eventually he will definitely get fed up with that, and he'll end up really violently going after somebody. Hurt Syndicate defeated the Sons of Texas. BetOnline AG had Hurt Syndicate as the favorites. We had them winning, but I felt like this one was maybe a little closer to call than many suspected because of the MJF element. Would he help them? Would he hurt them? Plus, Sons of Texas carrying tag titles into Texas. Yeah, I could have seen that. Sometimes Tony's been sentimental for that stuff, right? But it wasn't to be. MJF kept trying to help during this. He tried to hand off the Dynamite Diamond Ring, which in that spot didn't make much sense to me. Right in front of the ref, like right, Aubrey's just sitting there, like, if you want to get DQ'd, okay. But that didn't quite make sense to me, like right in front of the referee. Later on, he did help. He eye gouged Dustin and set up the spear through the barricade, which they're trying to they were still trying to make it look like Bobby Lashley was doubting MJF. And MVP definitely did as well, because he was on commentary. But they were definitely teasing that. FightfulSelect.com reported that MJF would be at this show. He was in Arizona, even though he wasn't advertised for a match. But I also want to give Sammy Guevara some love, because I know a lot of people, they got their fill of him during some of his singles runs, but that man's hardly ever really been on his own, right? Like hardly ever. And I know he's had a lot of like issues here and there, disciplinary and stuff like that, but he really shines in tag matches, multi-matches, and hardcore matches. Like he's really, really good at them. And I believe it's because he doesn't have to slow down quite as much. He's not quite as sympathetic of a seller, but I think working with Dustin Rhodes, he's becoming one. Right? Like even though Dustin Rhodes is like the 50-something-year-old guy, Sammy Guevara is the one. He's the babyface in peril in a lot of this stuff. And it's hard to be babyface in peril when the whole crowd is chanting, "We hurt people," as well. That's sort of like an uphill battle for babyface opponents of the Hurt Syndicate. Even though they cheat, even though they're like kind of heels, the crowd loves chanting, "We hurt people," and they respect all these men. And at least also MJF is like their scumbag still. Beautiful shooting star to the outside from Sammy as well. Set up the crossroads. And at that moment, I was like, oh, are they going to do it? Is this going to happen? Got sold a ticket on that one too. Also, I loved the, like, what do you call it? It's not a choke slam. It's just Bobby Lashley heaving somebody up in the air, and Sammy takes that so well. The setup or the spear setup on Sammy was a little rough later on, but other than that, solid match. Again, I didn't quite understand MJF trying to hand off the ring right in front of Aubrey, but maybe that's something that gets addressed. Like, why would you do that? Why would you cost that? And then MVP can be like, I know you like getting DQ'd, but we like the winner's purse. We didn't all come from money. We earned our money. Oh, man. Okada versus Mike Bailey. Okada was the Bet Online AG favorite. Fightful had him as a lock. And he did. I said this past week, I felt like Okada needed a slapper. Felt like in the 15 months that he's been in AEW, he had the Pac match, the Ospreay match. Those were the only two absolute slappers. And you can only do are we going to see New Japan Okada so many times? When you are building to a match with Kenny Omega, you better tell the world that you've got the New Japan Okada. It's okay for him to be entertaining and trust me, bitch, I pressed the wrong button. All that. That's fine. That's good TV. But when he gets in the ring, he doesn't really have bad matches. They're matches. They're fine. It's okay. But you didn't go 15 months and only see him have two incredible matches throughout New Japan. You'd see probably about at least 6-7 of those a year. At least. If it's a really bad year, maybe 5. But certainly not 2 over the course of 15 months. Well, this was a slapper. It was a humper. And I felt like Speedball forcing the pace was going to make this happen. It's very hard to have a bad match with Speedball Mike Bailey, because if things are going south, he's just going to do some crazy ass kick. And it's going to look incredible. I've mentioned this before, guys, but I cannot possibly convey to you guys how incredible the technique on Speedball's kicks are. I've never quite seen anything like it in pro wrestling. Like I always was shocked and amazed at Aleister Malachi Black's spinning wheel kick technique, and Speedball Mike Bailey's is light years beyond that. That's not me taking a shot at Black either. Just incredible. And then the one that I've really grown to love is when somebody's in the corner and he does the tornado kick into the buckle, because he can give him a little bit extra there, because he's got the leverage of the ropes as well. Just incredible technique and accuracy on those. It's next level. And honestly, what Okada needed was somebody to kick the living shit out of him. He needed somebody to beat him up to get him into it. You ain't got to save yourself for the G1 anymore, buddy. Every week can be your G1 in AEW. Every time you wrestle can be your G1. You ain't going to do like 24 matches in 20 days. Anything crazy. Or 20 matches in 24 days. It's okay. You can go out and have humpers like this, Okada. We believe in you. So there was a really close ass pin here, but there was a flip midair from Speedball that just got cracked with a drop kick. Then the Rainmaker hits. I also liked the repeated lariats and how they went into the big kick there as well. This was that good stuff. I'd put this one up there with Pac. I'd put this one up there with Bryan Danielson. This is Humper number 3. Not to be confused with Mambo number 5. By God. But listen, New Japan Okada could have had a 5-star match with every person that Lou Bega mentioned in Mambo number 5. I believe you. I believe it, by God. I tell you what else I believe in. NordVPN. If you aren't watching wrestling with NordVPN.com/Fightful, you are not watching wrestling in the best way. I know times are tough. Money is tight. NordVPN.com/Fightful can eliminate your cable bill if you just watch wrestling. You can watch Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and PLEs on Netflix by changing your virtual location with just one click. You can watch pay-per-views at a much more affordable price when you change that virtual location and get the prices they're getting overseas. In addition, all the wonderful features that we haven't even mentioned. But right now, you save big. 4 extra months free and a 30-day money-back guarantee when you use NordVPN.com/Fightful. By the end of this subscription, you're going to be saving money. NordVPN.com/Fightful. Nord is truly incredible, guys. I watch basketball games out of market. I watch football games out of market with it. That's how I watch all of WWE TV now. It's through NordVPN.com/Fightful and a Netflix subscription. I know a lot of you guys were frustrated by the lack of Triller in the US. Well, you can still use Triller to order pay-per-views with NordVPN.com/Fightful, and you get it for the price that they get it overseas. Just saying. Some scrum notes. Mercedes calls Jamie Hayter one of her toughest opponents yet. She also said she knew where to find Athena. Hell yeah. Well, Timeless Toni Storm defeated Mina Shirakawa. Another really good match. Mina Shirakawa wrestled her ass off in this match. Listen, a lot of people knew her for dancing and almost being gimmicky with the TNA and stuff like that. and those types of things. She went out there and showed people that she could wrestle, people that hadn't watched her prior, that she could wrestle. I was hoping for a themed entrance here. Like, I feel like every time they go to a different place, they should have a themed entrance or pay-per-view, a themed entrance for Toni. And that was a little disappointing, but other than that, this was even better than I thought. Like, listen, I like Mina Shirakawa just fine. Toni Storm's one of the best women's wrestlers in the world. I was not expecting Mina Shirakawa to take like 90% of the offense in this match. She beat the brakes off of Toni Storm, right? Like, she beat the snot out of her. Now, we did have this as our Bet Online lock pick because knew that Toni was heading into All In as champion, but there was a tornado off of Luther's back. Toni did hit a DDT on the floor, but in the ring, there was a figure four, an inverted figure four, Tigress driver, all that stuff from Mina Shirakawa. Like, she was really unloading it all in this match with Toni Storm. Storm Zero got the win, but like I was very surprised by this. Not that I expected them to have a bad match or anything, but I guess the structure of the match as well. A 15-minute match, about what I expected. Maybe a few minutes longer, but I didn't expect Mina to take like 90% of it and for Toni to be like DDT, Storm Zero. That's it. Now, it does put over Storm Zero. And I mean, there have been people that kicked out of like 4 Storm Zeros. I think it was Iwatani. But I thought this still helped Mina. And far too often in AEW, you have the new person come in, and Mina's only kind of new. She signed, as FightfulSelect.com reported, but she's been around before, right? Like, she's had title matches before, even. And she is that link to the Mariah May story, which is what they played off of because they kissed after the match. No Mariah May to be found. Again, guys, she wasn't there. She's a very smart woman. She knows how to get people talking. She knows how to generate buzz, and she is exceptional at it. Just phenomenal at it. But I love this match. I thought it was really, really good, and just not the approach I expected. And that's not ever a bad thing. It's just a completely different angle than I had anticipated. And one that I think if Mina is going to lose, I feel like it's very, very important to have her take a lot of offense and establish a lot of offense as well. Because now at least there's going to be a lot of people that are familiar with the things that she's doing in the ring. Oh, and then Mina immediately kissed Toni's knee to apologize for working it. Bandito said he was excited to be appearing at AEW Grand Slam, and Toni Khan announced that the match between Bandito and Dorada the day before Grand Slam will be for the ROH World Title. Oh, shoot. Okay. All right. I think you're going to see some prominent luchador inclusion on All In as well. I mean, you gotta, right? Like, you're the Grand Slam and All In should go hand in hand in promoting one another. Let's actually talk about this trios match before we talk about Anarchy in the Arena. One of the better cool-down matches I've ever seen because there wasn't a lot of cooling down here. Don Callis family pick up the win over the Paragon, which is Undisputed Era with a new name for those of you who didn't know. But Josh Alexander, Takeshita, Kyle Fletcher. Again, I would have been fine with this being on Dynamite or Collision, but I understood they did it because Tanahashi came out afterwards, and then Brody Lee Brody King. I would love if Brody Lee came out there. Even Brody Lee Jr., who won the cluster this year, but Brody King and Ishii. I'm like, man, I miss Buddy, dude. I miss Buddy. Can that guy heal up soon? Want to see that guy working. I was a little bit surprised to see Paragon taking an L here. There were a lot of people that were asking me if Adam Cole had been injured because he hadn't wrestled in like a month. And this is the trio that was widely considered like when the Wednesday Night War started like 6 years ago. This was the act, right? And Bobby Fish, but he ain't coming back. Not for this. It's just wild to see that. So what I want to see is the Paragon sort of confront that within one another. Because the Don Callis family, I feel like they needed to win that. And hear me out. I think they should beat Tanahashi, Brody, and Ishii as well. But it's probably going to be Tanahashi because I don't know. If they'll probably have their match like what in the UK, maybe for Forbidden Door. I think Don Callis family should have a trios match or trios title match though. Tony Storm is asked about Mina Shirakawa. She says it's just a casual thing between them. They're having fun, casual lovers. She says she hasn't met Miss Money, asks if it's okay to smoke tobacco or cannabis, and asks what drugs she can take if she wants to get effed up. Then shouted at Luther, Luther, get me the meth. Fantastic. There were no BetOnline AG odds for Anarchy in the arena. But I feel like this contributed. Like here were the two options. Team AEW wins. And I feel like Team AEW has to win. This has to be the unfurling of Death Riders. Or you put the AEW fan base in another perpetual state of frustration for Death Riders winning again. Because Jon Moxley needs to lose that title at All In. And I feel like this was AEW getting their win over the two groups that have sort of tried to hold AEW hostage for the last year. Death Riders and the Young Bucks. Swerve had this incredible entrance. Looked like such a star. AEW's entrances tonight were next level. Like you go to an AEW show and you know you're going to see some good entrances now. Or an AEW pay-per-view. But the Young Bucks, the founding fathers of AEW, I kind of would like if their official team name is the Founding Fathers now. You can't be the Young Bucks forever, right? The Founding Fathers is a kick-ass name. Going from the Young Bucks to the Founding Fathers, that's a natural adjustment, right? So their terrible music plays. And Kenny Omega gets out there and he's like, change the music. And I'm so excited by the Pointer Sisters plays. That was such a phenomenal rib callback. For those that weren't around that week, earlier this year, AEW got a new theme song for Dynamite. And it was to be a long-term move. And it was, I'm so excited by the Pointer Sisters. Tony Khan wanted it. But Tony Khan also listened to his audience and never brought it back until tonight. And I love that Kenny Omega, of course, would love the Pointer Sisters, right? So I just want to say, hold on. Oh, man. Somebody said, oh, there are some licensed songs for the show tonight. And as a joke, I sent this message. I said, I already beat you to the punch. And this is the thumbnail from the Pointer Sisters. I'm so excited. I did not realize I got that right. But eventually it changes to the most pro wrestling butt rock song possible. And I love Drowning Pool. Bodies by Drowning Pool. I was teasing this in the Fightful Select Discord live chat. The people that were in the live chat can verify that I was in there all night singing the lyrics to Drowning Pool. But yeah, somebody says you clearly knew about Bodies in advance on the Discord. Yeah. Yeah. But I love it because it's, I mean, first off, SummerSlam 01, ECW, mid 2000s. I dig it. I like it. I also like the way that they got out of playing it. They had Claudio swing somebody into the speaker. And let me be clear. Listen, I know that not everything needs to be early 2000s rock. It doesn't always need to be Saliva or Marilyn Manson or Limp Bizkit or Drowning Pool. But sometimes it's really, really cool when it is, right? Tell me you would not pop if next week AEW started to run Desire videos with Creed in the background. You'd love it. You know you'd love it. You'd be all about it. Even if it was Sammy Guevara and it just shows him doing swantons to My Sacrifice. This match was so fun. So fun. So Luis says anybody but Creed. I might be going to see Creed literally the night before I fly out. I might be calling into the AEW Dynamite Go Home show before All In because Creed is performing 3 miles from my house. Yes, I would love if Scott Stapp actually appeared on Dynamite and said, I'm 6 feet from the edge. And then he's standing next to Adam Copeland. So let's talk about some of the spots of this match. Apologies. Sorry. Whew. The chain through Willow's ear. Ooh, what a great spot. I was like, how the hell is she getting out of that? They're stabbing with like the table. There's a forklift. Nana driving the forklift in. Swerving while he drives. Hobbs just spamming spine busters. Hobbs staples himself. He tried to staple his head that got in his hair. But Marina Shafir, she told you guys, don't get rid of her red swing line stapler. And then she staples Swerve's tongue. Ugh. This is phenomenal and insane. Listen, you don't need a ton of psychology when you got 10 guys fighting, right? That's you get around that. I love the quad box that they have up there. They're going full red zone on you. But then you did get a little bit of story because Hook rolls up. And listen, there are so many additional people that got involved in this match. But Hook shows up, gets a little measure of revenge, and Joe's like, welcome back, dude. Like, come on, join the fun. And Hook's just like, no. Hook is already an enigmatic guy, right? Like, he doesn't talk a lot. And then when he did talk and he had a thick New York accent, I don't know why I was surprised. Don't know why I was surprised by that. But it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, we have seen the potential. We have seen him accomplish some very cool things. We were about to see him get a bit of a push with the trios. But I wonder if this is, him just operating on his own, being a loner again. I feel like him graduating from Samoa Joe is a fairly good idea. But I want to see him, you know how like Taz with the human suplex machine? I want to see this dude doing judo throws to everybody. Like crazy ass judo throws that most wrestlers don't know about. For those of you who've never trained judo, there are hundreds of judo throws that would look phenomenal in pro wrestling that do not get used in pro wrestling. That's why I think Ronda's first run went so well. She leaned so much on her judo, and like she knew how to throw people and make them land, and make them land safely too if she wanted to. Now, it didn't last very long, but I think something like that would work really well for Hook. I'm very interested in the direction for Hook though, because Joe and Hook going back at it is the natural story, right? Like, what more is he going to do with Samoa Joe? There was Nick Jackson doing a swanton off the set through the table. That looked rough. That looked pretty rough. Willow and Swerve doing a TK driver on one of the founding fathers. I loved that, with Willow holding him up for the pile driver. That was good stuff. Then Gabe Kidd shows up. So I don't know, man. I was a little bummed out because I thought Gabe Kidd, who clearly I am a big fan of Gabe Kidd, obviously. I've interviewed him a bunch of times. I love his work. No secret there. Thought he was going to be way more involved with this match. And on Fightful Select, we had reported and said, hey, well, by the way, just so y'all know, he is going to be involved in this match. We just don't know to what degree. But it felt like bringing him in was a little directionless as things stand. Now, maybe it's the setup, as Mark Briscoe did one of the coolest run-ins you will ever see, bloodied, flipping right through and taking out Gabe Kidd. Listen, these two together going to have a really good match if they're setting up for Forbidden Door or whatever. But I'm like, huh. As of now, I'm looking at it like, well, why was he there? Because like he hates AEW. That's been his whole thing. He hates AEW. Now, maybe he's wanting to help tear it apart. That Mark Briscoe run-in was phenomenal. I really liked the way they set up this finish. Oh, that was brilliant. The ambulance was still out there. And I would have loved it. That could have been another great way to introduce him. Like Gabe or anybody, whether it be Gabe Kidd or somebody else, is right by the ambulance and Mark Briscoe kicks open the door. But I mean, they've got history. Like they fought each other backstage, and we just never got that match. Never got that thing. But the Death Riders get locked in the ambulance, and practically the whole team is holding the Death Riders in there. A great visual. There's a one-winged angel on Matt through the the table that explodes electric. And then in the ring, Swerve gets his new shoes. Great product placement here. Nana brings them out. Great job as a manager. Check out our new interview with Prince Nana, featuring a cameo that you probably are not going to expect. I certainly didn't. Maybe two. And the new, which by the way, I was an Iverson's guy when I was a kid. I had the i3s, loved them. We'll be getting a pair of these, but I won't have thumbtacks in mine. And then Swerve does the Swerve stomp with the tacks. Woo! Phenomenal. And we also saw Omega and Swerve side by side. Just incredible. Toni was asked about picking Drowning Pool bodies for the match tonight. He says it was a one-horse race when it came to that song. It's the song they wanted. Mike Owens gets in a super chat. Get him in, guys. Your super chats and humper chats. Mike Owens says, A+ show. Anarchy in the Arena was bonkers. Hayter versus Mone was the best women's match of the year. My God, I have no words for Will versus Hangman. It was special. I can't wait to talk about that one. Can't wait to talk about that one. So I got to agree with you, Mike. Jordan sends a humper chat and says, love Willow and Hobbs in the black and Jack shirts were great. And the staple stuck in Swerve's tongue after the match was sick. Great visual, too. Like, Swerve, the thing is, like, Swerve isn't the guy I think of when it comes to, like, crazy spots like that. But he should be, right? Like, syringes and cinder blocks and staples and all that crazy stuff and tacks, all that. He does it all. And then I'm like, oh yeah, he does do all that. String says, my mother was born in 1936. She popped so hard for Anarchy, she yelled at one point, come on, Willow, kill that effing bitch. Almost 90. I love it, man. Listen, I loved watching wrestling with my grandmother too. She was a big Cena guy. So, man, I love it. Oh, she would hate when people cheated to beat John Cena too. Your mom sounds awesome. That is incredible. Oh, that and getting to enjoy that with her, that's awesome too. Jordan says, Toni said, I paid for it. I'm going to play my jam one way or another. He said, Bodies had me on such a high. Anarchy in the Arena was so much fun. Yeah, Tony's got to get his money's worth, right? I think the song should become like a rib. Like somebody gets kidnapped backstage, one of the Death Riders, and they're being tortured by playing I'm So Excited on repeat. Like that's how they get it done. I love it. Again, no betting lines for this one, but I think an all-timer Anarchy in the Arena match. It was so good. And if you heard my, I can't remember if it was the Q&A show or the preview show, but I said I thought this was going to be one of the longest Anarchy in the Arena stadium stampedes of all time, and it was 35 minutes. It was a good amount of time. I just thought that they really killed it here. And I mean, here's an underrated element of it. You had Omega, Swerve, and the Opps. So you had 5 people. Death Riders. Claudio, Moxley, Marina, Yuta, Matt, Nick Jackson. But they brought Gabe Kidd. But also, who did Team AEW bring? They brought Hook. They brought Mark Briscoe. They brought Prince Nana. They brought a bunch of people with them, too. So, I mean, they were capitalizing on the numbers game. Get your super chats, get your humper chats in. A reminder, guys, please subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. I cannot begin to tell you how important that is to supporting what we do. I know a lot of you go, why would I pay for wrestling news? It's not just wrestling news. It is additional podcasts, Q&As. We have a subscriber-exclusive Discord. I have Q&A articles that drop like 5 to 7 days a week as well. It is the most aggregated wrestling website on the internet, bar none at this point. And as we sit here at, my God, it is what, 1:45 a.m.? I am thinking about getting some sleep, and you can too with helixsleep.com/fightful. A few years ago, I was just tired of the mattress that I was sleeping on. It was a slab of memory foam, and I knew I needed to invest in my sleep. I try to look at it this way. If I'm spending a bunch of time on my computer, I want to make sure I have a good computer. I want to make sure I have a good chair. I'm spending a lot of time in my bed, which ideally you should be spending a third of your life in. You want to make sure you invest in your mattress. And that's what I wanted to do. However, when I was shopping, it was the height of the pandemic. I didn't want to go to a mattress store. I couldn't go to a mattress store at that point. So what I did was look online for the highest rated mattresses. And I found Helix Sleep before there was even a helixsleep.com/fightful. So here's what I did. I found their 30,000 plus 5-star reviews. I saw stuff in Good Housekeeping, Wired Magazine, like all these great magazines that put them over. I was like, all right, I'm going to check this out. Went to their site and I took their sleep quiz. I was matched up to the model that fit me, the Dusk Lux model. Now, there's a bunch of options on there. Ones that will help align your spine, ones that will cool you down, even ones for plus size sleepers and kids. I found the one that was right for me. It shipped straight to my door. It was ready to sleep on later that night. Here's the great thing. When I ordered that, they said you get 100 nights risk-free. If for some reason you don't like it, we will come and pick it up for you. I did like it. I liked it so much that I bought an extra one. I bought one for my mom as a gift as well. Got 3 of these. I even got some of their furniture from their partner company, Allform. helixsleep.com/fightful. Right now, you get 27% off any purchase for a limited time using our code Fightful. They also have incredible pillows. Just a wonderful investment. A limited lifetime warranty, assembled and shipped in the U.S. Go check out helixsleep.com/fightful. See some of the wonderful testimonials and get matched up to the right mattress for you. Take it from me, man. The kind of sleep that I got before I got a Helix Sleep mattress and after, nowhere near close. Oh my gosh. Adam Hangman Page defeats Will Ospreay. I wouldn't say shocked. I was surprised by this. I kind of wanted Will Ospreay to win, but as the match went on and Will Ospreay started to kind of play the heel, I was like, okay. But even though I thought Will Ospreay was going to win, I love that Hangman Page won. I didn't know what the direction was going to be for Hangman, for Swerve. If not, facing each other. Now I don't know what's Swerve going to do? What's MJF going to do? What's Ospreay going to do? We know Okada and Omega are facing each other, but Adam Hangman Page needs to win that title at All In. But Matthew, I see your chat right here, buddy. Says, I love Hangman, but I worry about Mox beating him at All In. No way it happens if Ospreay had won. I thought what they were going to do is have Ospreay win and carry that title in the Forbidden Door, probably defend it against Gabe Kidd, have the 2 UK guys compete for the title. So there's one of 2 things that can happen now. Moxley can win again. If he wins it All In. It's been like this like the last 2 or 3 pay-per-views, though. It's like, okay, it's time to move on. And the Death Rider stuff has not been bad of late. It was for quite a while. It was bad. It has not been bad of late. That being said, the title reign has happened. You've gotten the heat off of it. You can move on from it. Hangman Page's thing is, he said, I haven't won anything the last 2 years. In fact, if you guys remember this, his first appearance for the company was at the press conference in Jacksonville in early 2019. And he and Pac were the first two people to say, I want that AEW title. Didn't go his way. And then he became one of the best tag team champions AEW ever saw. One of the best storylines I've ever seen in wrestling with Kenny Omega. But he got so sidetracked and obsessed with Swerve that he hasn't won anything. And now he's ready to change that. Let's talk about this match as Efren says a cool 89 degrees leaving the arena tonight. Wish it was here, buddy. It's like 62 here. So early on, they had Hangman doing a lot of fall-away slams into the barricade. He had a tombstone. He did angel's wings. The first 20 minutes was largely Hangman, and it was not the crazy torrid pace that a lot of Ospreay detractors online will have you believe. It was a very calculated but action-packed pace. And then it stepped up. Then it got wild, guys. So there was this phenomenal BME attempt. So Hangman Page has adopted the moves of Christopher Daniels after retiring Christopher Daniels, which we'd reported about on FightfulSelect.com, but it was something that was very important to Christopher Daniels. He wanted Hangman to retire him, and he'd been wanting to do it for a while. But off that BME attempt, Ospreay stands up, bam, hidden blade. But Hangman rolls out of it. When he rolls out of it, Ospreay's like, I'll just do the Styles Clash on the floor to you. Get back in the ring, hidden blade, and then Ospreay. This is where we start seeing the heelish elements. He really he doesn't do anything illegal. He just starts beating the snot out of Hangman, like kicking him, punching him, all that stuff. Doing palm strikes, which, by the way, I think closed fist punches should be illegal in pro wrestling again. That way we see more palm strikes. Get rid of the closed fist punch. It's the fakest thing in pro wrestling. Hardly anybody ever gets knocked out with one. This was a really great way to set up the ending if you were going to have Hangman win, which they did. Because Ospreay's such a likable guy. And he's such a likable guy that you got to have him do a little bit something, but you don't want him to do anything too wild, right? Like, you don't want him to do anything that's like, okay, well, I can't forgive that. And this isn't like that. He just got in the ref's face a little bit. So they go outside. And it's funny because they're clearly implying that Ospreay's setting up for Tiger Driver or Stormbreaker. But the table collapses as Hangman sets up or goes to do the Deadeye, which is funny because it ended up being like the Triple H table falling underneath their weight. Then Hangman just does the Deadeye anyway. Check out our our video on Fightful's YouTube, making a finisher, where Hangman Page, I want to say like 5 or 6 years ago, talked to me about that move. Need to bring back that feature. But there was this incredible spot. Ospreay's on one side of the ring measuring up for the hidden blade. Hangman's on the outside measuring up for the buckshot lariat. And he said, what was it? I'm calling you out for a duel. That was the duel. They took their paces. Did you all see the iconography? Is that a word? I don't know what the hell the word is. The imagery, the callback there, that was Ospreay calling Hangman Page out for a duel right there. They met in the middle and the Cowboy won. Bam. but there was a kick out. Whew. Hidden Blade, Stormbreaker. I go, damn. So the Stormbreaker looks incredible. Doesn't pin as many people. I didn't think this one was going to get him. I really didn't at this point. But then I was like, okay, the follow-up Hidden Blade for sure. And then a lot of this was these two learning from some of their foes. And Kenny Omega at one point collapsed under a Rainmaker from Okada. That's what happened with Hangman. He collapses under the Hidden Blade. So then we really see these two learn from their foes. Ospreay does a V-trigger from Kenny Omega and goes for the one-winged angel. But Hangman pulls out the big pressure from Swerve. Ooh. Ooh. Listen, you can keep your shouting out promos in the ring. You can keep all that. This is cinema to me. This is the in-ring storytelling that I want. This is the in-ring storytelling that people who do not watch AEW will swear does not exist. Well, they don't know how to take a story or tell a story. They don't know how to sell. Yeah, they do. Watch the match. Hangman reverses the Stormbreaker. Hits a big lariat for the win. At some point, I just watched this and I just cackled. I was just like, I can't believe this. What a fantastic show this was, guys. We got a bunch of super chats from this unbelievably good show. It's not even unbelievably good. AEW does this type of show all the time. Love for Boost says the Hangman MJF interactions make way more sense now. Maybe we see that at World's End. Maybe, but I don't know that they make more sense now. Maybe down the line, but I don't know that they necessarily made sense. Fightful Select reported that damn, what did we report? Oh, Hangman and Ospreay did not know the result of this match up until like this weekend. Jordan says this is one duel Jericho couldn't mess up. But what if Jericho would have shown up and sang more like let the boobies hit the floor like he did in like 01? That'd be great. Spencer Trainer says, holy shit, Ospreay versus Hangman. Hayter and Mercedes killed it. Swerve as Predator is insane. Please make him champ soon again. So AEW is in a phenomenal position where they have Omega, Swerve. They got, who else they got? Obviously, listen, Ospreay is a big one. And they got Hangman. And 3 of those 4 won tonight. And Okada and Omega is happening next month. Well, in 6 weeks. They got Hangman likely en route to something big. You just got to keep your big baby faces healthy. And I mean healthy in booking as well. Now, I do think that they need to reestablish some really top-notch heels. They really do need to do that. Zach says, this show, especially the main event, reminded me why I love wrestling. One of my favorite pay-per-views ever. This had everything, man. It really did. I mean, the funny thing is they didn't have like anything that was so crazy paced, flippy, all that stuff. Wasn't a ton of that, honestly. But this was such a great physical show. I mean, personally, this is very much my style, and I love it. Vicky says, hi, SRS. Well, hi, Vicky. Love seeing you. Love the Marvel type garb on Anarchy. Mercedes needs to lose the TBS title. Next for Ospreay now. Can't be MJF. They've already done that. Okada and Omega are booked up. It's got to be somebody big. It's got to be somebody big, and the only one I'm looking at is Swerve. That's the only one I'm looking at right now. With Hanger winning, how to find things finally end for Mox. I think Mox needs to become abusive towards his group over the next 6 weeks or so. Blame them for the loss. And then they slowly walk out on him. I think that's the best approach. I am Crush NC says all-timer AEW pay-per-view. Hangman's winning that belt, baby. What an effing show. Also watch DPW Limit Break. Best indie show of the year. Deadlock Pro is incredible, and I've always mentioned this. I think they've cultivated a phenomenal community and do some really, really cool, exciting stuff. Shout out to them. Now, this says, Sean, Hangman Ospreay was like an unfrosted brown sugar Pop-Tart. Absolute perfection. I got a lot of flack because I said that unfrosted cherry Pop-Tarts were my favorite. Now, they don't make them anymore, but that's what I grew up on. Love cherry Pop-Tarts, but I loved them unfrosted. Unfrosted strawberry is like, okay, I guess, but I just don't like frosting in general. Like, I don't like frosting or icing. I don't like it on cake. Don't like, if you put it on a brownie, I hate to fight you, but I will. Irene says, I think Hangman wins it all in. They've moved on from having Darby as an AEW original that beats the Death Riders for AEW. It'll be Page now. It should. Because if they forego Page and then go back to Darby, or they even go back to Ospreay at Forbidden Door, I think that would be the straw that broke the camel's back for a lot of AEW fans, because they've been able to balance what largely AEW fans don't like, which is Moxley as champion, with really great shows and in-ring. Now, it hasn't been, again, I want to make this clear. To me, there's been an incredible recovery for the Death Riders over the last several months. Just incredible. From the people thought that the booking was like right down the tube type of thing to where they are now. It's been a really fantastic recovery, in my opinion, and not one that I would have expected. I didn't think they could get there, and, you know, that's on me for doubting John Moxley. Probably shouldn't have done that. Spencer Trainer says, I watched 90% of the main event in stunned silence, got emotional watching them. My finisher noise was gasping when when Will hit the V trigger, screamed when Hangman hit big pressure. I thought, Spencer, I agree. I think that was one of the better, again, what I mentioned about the storytelling elements of this match and this show in general. They learned something from the people that they faced. And that was what I think some of this was. It was Hangman Page felt like he wasted the last 2 years. He didn't waste the last 2 years. He was learning lessons inside the ring and outside the ring throughout this process. Hangman Page faced, even though he had competed for the tag team titles, even though he competed for the world title, he competed in the Owen Hart tournament. The most formidable opponent that he ever faced was one that played off of his emotions. Not for championships, anything like that. One that played off his emotions. And after that, who can affect his emotions now? He learned a lot. And he learned some moves along the way. 8 Young Nasty Man says, nah, Darby Mox holding pattern continues. Don't see TK pivoting. Crown Darby by beating the version of Mox that beat the guy who had his number. Listen, I like Darby Allin. He is just not AEW's main character. He is a top character. He would have, if he was around, he would have been right there in that Anarchy in the Arena match doing some crazy stuff. I'm glad that I'm glad that he climbed Mount Everest, because what an incredible achievement. People literally died while he was doing it. And I know it's something that meant a lot to him. And flying the AEW flag up there meant a lot to him. But it also did kind of feel like that loomed over his career for a couple of years. Since like 2023, we've been talking about it. He was going to do it in 2024, but he was hurt. Got hit by a bus. But it has sort of loomed over his career and brought a halt to a lot of things for a year and a half. Now, he did it and flew the AEW flag. That is important to him. I do think there's just something that doesn't always click with the promo. Not everybody's got to be a great promo. It's just there's something that doesn't quite click. But that being said, he is an indispensable performer on that show. I just don't think it will be him. I think he is going to be the AEW World Champion in the future. I just don't think here. In Simmons says, shocked Hangman won. AEW is slowly getting back to what it was and are slowly becoming the babyface company again. Seen some A or WWE fans watching. Listen, there are a lot of people that are seeing some of the stuff WWE has been doing. Orlando the same day as the AEW pay-per-view. Running Goldberg's retirement match up against All In. Doing Evolution the same weekend as well in the most here damn situation. And what you will have is people go, oh, everybody wants competition till they treat it like competition. No, I do not want wrestling companies to run shows the same exact time. I don't. I liked it when I was a little kid when Nitro and Raw were on, but that's because I didn't know that there was, I didn't know that there was an option. Like, oh, wait, you mean they could do it Monday and Tuesday and I could watch them both? Cool. Also, Nitro aired right after Raw as well on a replay. So I just watched that. Didn't like it when both shows were on Wednesdays. If AEW, by the way, did not like it when TNA tried to run up against WWE on Mondays. Thought that was dumb. Would not like it if AEW did the same. And they're like, oh, well, you know what we're going to do during WrestleMania? We're going to have a show. I would be like, why are y'all doing this shit? Come on. But I understand WWE only answers to their shareholders. But listen, there have been points in the past where USA Network has been like, hey, we don't care about your silly little bullshit ratings or your little war on Wednesdays. So move this to Tuesday so we get more numbers. Like it's had to happen before. Like, but listen, Nick Khan, TKO, they are cutthroat. That's the way they do business. And that's just it. But like what people will not tell me or pretend to me, oh, WWE doesn't care about AEW. They don't see him as competition. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. And if that's how they see it, that's how they see it. But you can't sit here and tell me that they don't. I don't care what AEW does, like how many people do or don't show up to AEW or do or don't watch AEW TV, any of that stuff. WWE sees them how they see them, and they make that evident in their actions. They make it abundantly clear. Super Mo says, my jaw hit the floor when Hanger won. The main character of AEW has to beat Mox. Love Darby, but you got to put the title on Page. I agree with you. I agree. I think it's the right move. I think it's the right time. I think it probably ends the show. Guys, I want to say thank you all to all of you that are here watching. Again, we are here every night. If you're new to Fightful, we're here every damn night. Raw, NXT, Dynamite, TNA, SmackDown, Collision, pay-per-views every night. We got a bunch of weekly shows. We have a bunch of great videos on our channel as well. Please check out our archives. Efren says, the beginning of Anarchy was the best 5 to 7 minutes I've experienced at a live wrestling show in my life. I'm so glad you had fun, too. Wishing I had some of that warm-ass weather, man. Wishing I had some of that warm weather. Some scrum notes. Toni calls Ospreay as all elite as anyone, says that he's carried AEW, said he'd be on the Mount Rushmore of people that have walked into his life. Says just the beginning of Will here, not the end. Oh, regarding the head-to-head from WWE, Tony Khan says it's the most consistent head-to-head scheduling since Jim Crockett Promotions and says this will end a lot differently than that did. All right, good for him. That's the type of approach that I think he should probably take to it. Tony is asked about Scorpio Sky, who has grown frustrated, as he should. Listen, man, for anybody that's, why don't you criticize AEW? Buddy, here's one. They have wasted 3 years of this guy's life. I know he's been injured during some of that, They've wasted 3 years of his life. He's had like 3 AEW matches and 3 ROH matches. What's going on here? Why is he riding the pine? Toni said that he had talks recently about the things they could do, but they went in a different direction. Had an idea things Scorpio could do, but it didn't work out. He's open to Scorpio doing something when he thinks of another idea. It don't take you 3 years to come up with an idea. And if it does, why'd you sign him to another 5-year deal? Why'd you sign him to another 5-year deal? Put him in a tag team. Put him in a tag team with literally anybody at this point. Do something with him. Put him in trios. You want to tell me he's more valuable sitting at home? Put him on ROH. Send him to New Japan. Send him to CMLL. Do something with him. Something. Hangman said for 2 years he hasn't won anything, not a tournament, not a championship, not an unsanctioned match. It didn't feel like winning. For so long, he's been looking backwards. Now he can look forward to something. Nah, Scorpio Sky ain't it. He's been sitting at home for 3 years. Not it. You're not it for ROH. He's not it for a trio. Not it for a tag team. Get out of here. Get out of here. You can find something for him to do. Find something for this guy to do. Don't hit me with, he's useless just because he spoke out about AEW. Don't be one of those people. You know, all the people that are sitting there saying, oh, Ricochet always sucked now that he's talking bad about WWE. Don't be that weirdo. Oh, my God. Scorpio said something negative about his experience at AEW in which he actually lived through. So now he's worthless. Put him in ROH. Put him in CMLL. Put him in New Japan. Put him in a tag. Put him in a trios. Come on. Come on. Guys, please subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. Please leave a thumbs up. We would greatly appreciate if you guys did that. Check out all of our great content. Again, FightfulSelect.com, best $5.99 a month in the business. I want to thank our wonderful partners, Blue Chew and the code FIGHTFUL. Bet online, NordVPN.com/Fightful. And of course, HelixSleep.com/Fightful. It's been a long night, guys. I want to thank you all so much. Until next time, we are out.